Yeah, it's a DXB Today edition, but not just any old edition. It's a greener one, it's a bolder one, it's a smarter one, as we look at, the investment into green tech here in the region, Dubai, the UAE and the region as a whole, and how green tech is impacting all of our lives on a daily basis. Well, our next guest is the Director of Water and Climate Solutions at, you might have heard them, Expo City. Welcome, Dr. Sajid Pareeth, who joins us now live here on the show. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on down from Expo City here in Dubai, which I think is fair to say has become something of a poster child, something of a shining example of how sustainability can be integrated into a living, breathing city within a city as well. Talk to me about solutions, but also the vision for sustainability. What's the sort of mandate that you've been given to work towards?
So, absolutely. I mean, Expo City Dubai is the new center for Dubai's future, strategically positioned with the new airport coming close to us.
Little airport, yeah.
Not the little airport. We can say that. But so our vision for sustainability is well thought about. We have 4 major pillars. We work on a sustainable built environment, sustainable operations, engaged community, which is a very important pillar of our sustainable goals, and net zero by 2050 in alignment with Dubai's net zero vision. When we talk about built environment, everything which is needed to make sure that the elements, the materials which we use for buildings are sustainable enough, which has less impact on the nature and environment. Community engagement is something which we are very proud of. We engage with the community on developing their awareness on sustainable activities. We have programs such as Seeds of Change, where they can monitor their carbon credits or their emission, the contribution to the emission, and make yourself self-aware of what is your contribution towards the entire climate change portfolio. So this is something which we are very serious about. We have programs in-house where we work at Terra, our sustainability center, where we have many programs where we work with the different stakeholders such as public, private and the academia and schools, where we also do workshops and capacity development programs on sustainability to make it part of their life.
Dr. Sajid, we obviously have an issue in the region around water scarcity. What is it, when it comes to Expo City specifically, doing when it comes to water management, water resilience around climate adaptation?
Yeah, so absolutely, that's a very serious and very relevant topic, which is the water scarcity in the region. It's not only Expo City Dubai or UAE. In the region, we face extreme water scarcity issues. So what we do is, and the amount of water which is available is limited, so we have to play with what is available, right? So the smart tech or the green tech which we talk about, which people talk about now, has to make sure that we optimally use the available water. So at Expo City Dubai, we have water strategy where we look into reducing our water consumption, reducing the demand, and also reducing net water loss. And we not only talk, or we not only formulate strategy, but we also implement these technologies in order to optimize our water use. So some of the examples are we reuse our water to the maximum, and usually people think that it can be done only at a large scale, but that's wrong. We can also do it at a building scale, and that's what we are trying to implement. For example, at Terra in Expo City Dubai, we have different water reuse systems for grey water, black water, and we also harvest water where we can.
Wow.
Harvesting water is something which resonates with people, and they get excited. Oh wow, can we harvest water? Yes, you can. Of course, the scale of how much water we can harvest, is depends on where we are, the geographic region, the climate, etc. But we do have systems where we reuse the black water and use that for landscape irrigation, for example. So we make sure that we have the water use efficiency is the key word. I don't want to get into too much of jargons, but improve the efficiency of the limited water which we have. And we make sure that around 80% of the water which is coming into the system, into the city, is being properly used, so that the overall water demand at the upstream get reduced, which will have a positive impact on our climate change impact or the emissions, etc.
Dr. Sajid, you mentioned Terra earlier on, and I'm just really excited when you mentioned that, because I love how you always have these events that are very family friendly. My son loves to go to Expo City, and it's great because obviously when you think about sustainability and our future, the children have to be very much a part of it. So what is Expo City doing to help foster more youth-led ideas and climate solutions?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Terra, we have, if you come to Terra any day of the year, you'll find school students running around and also learning about sustainability, our workshops on waterworks, our workshops on sustainability, how water reuse is working. So we do very immersive kind of workshops, which is not very heavily loaded, which works with the school kids. And also we have programs for corporates as well. It's not only about school kids, but it's also about corporates where they can have team building, but also learn something about sustainable. So it's fun plus education, and we strongly believe in lifelong learning. So, and it's not only about the events or the workshops, also about the visitation. So we have visitors, we have the venues open throughout the year for the visitors who can come in and who can learn about, not only about learning, but it's also fun, but about sustainability and what kind of actions they can take in their day-to-day life to make smaller impact, which collectively will make a bigger impact on the ground. So one of the programs which I want to point out is our recent programs on 100 hives in 100 schools, where we are also promoting the ecology, or teaching biodiversity and nature in the school students, and the importance of pollinators in school, for example.
Sajid, I want to ask you a little bit about what the future looks like in terms of sustainability and the different programs that you have in place at Expo Dubai in the realm of water and climate solutions.
So in the future, we want to make sure that we are a role model actually, and we live our promises on using water and climate solutions optimally to make sure that we are a net zero city within a larger ecosystem. So, and human-centric. So human-centric is one word which we use regularly, because we don't want to use technology for the sake of using technology. For example, AI. For example, for us, having native plants in our campus, and itself is a huge impact, because it reduces the use of water by 70%. So we want to do that interventions which is locally informed, knowledgeable. We want to disseminate that knowledge elsewhere in the world, so that we become a role model to other cities in the world.
In terms of, the future vision you've just laid out, interesting there. What are maybe this is a question for both of you, just to wrap up this sort of conversation today. We've talked about a lot of the solutions. What's the biggest hurdle? What's the biggest challenge in the way of putting those solutions in place, not just here in Dubai, but further afield? Kevin, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. The challenges are always around investment. Is a big part of potentially getting to that next step, because ultimately these solutions need a little bit more when it comes to hardware deployment with the tech enablement part, and also having that ability to be able to grow as you go as an organization, or reaching out and leveraging the network, and whether you need to move into different markets at different points. So at that early part, there's always a challenge around funding, and access to market is probably the biggest parts.
So Sajid, for you, the biggest challenge, hurdle?
I think other than what Kevin mentioned, on investment, ROI, and awareness, of course, awareness of having these kind of solutions, I think it's also about knowing what is the right solution at that right location. We cannot just import solutions. And that is what we always notice. We import solutions without knowing whether it will be successful or not.
Yeah.
And that is why I mentioned the example of native plants, and that plays a key role, that, okay, what works in our arid environment in Dubai, for example, and we implement that, because that will make sure that the solution will sustain for a long time.
Yeah, and I think going back to Louis' point about listening to the youth of today as well. I certainly get that in my house as well. Turn off the tap, Dad. Turn off the tap, Dad. Turn off the lights, Dad. They've got it drilled into them. And so they're making the small steps that make massive changes.
Exactly.
As well.
I mean, coexist with the nature is something which we are also trying to, inbuilt in the kids' game.
Long may that continue. Dr. Sajid, thank you so much indeed for your time. Thanks for coming on as a guest. Thanks for all you do down at Expo City Dubai. And Kevin, bless you. Thanks very much indeed. Couple of months off, and then I'll see you down at the big events. All right, we'll go again at those. So big thanks to you for all of your time.